I don't know if it's not going to play well, what badge they're going to give it, but that's what they say in their press release. So,
well, no badge.
Yeah, plays like crap.
I opened the door, and then I just stood there in front of the door waiting. And my wife was like, well, are you going to go? And I was like, I don't want to. It was just too scary.
Right.
Welcome back to the NerdNest podcast, everybody. I'm Bill Fairchild. I'm your host. Today, we are talking about video games. I know, you're surprised. And I'm joined by my very good friend, Russ Crandall from Retro Game Core. What's going on, Russ?
Nothing much. I'm looking forward to just, me and you going back and forth. I don't have to wait for Carrie to stop his rants before talking. This is great.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to go find an old Carrie rant at some point and just drop it in the middle of the episode so that people who come for the Carrie rants are like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I needed a alphabet salad of terms that I do not understand. But you know what? I think every time Carrie rants, we all learn a little bit of something, even if only for a few minutes. So speaking of a few minutes, we have more than a few minutes to record this podcast, but we have way more than a few minutes of topics to talk about. So I wanted to start with some stuff has been happening over at Gamescom. Microsoft has finally given the release date for the Xbox Ally X and the Xbox Ally, which is their versions of the ROG Ally and the ROG Ally X. Essentially, they're the same hardware with very slight differences between them. Most importantly, it has an Xbox button on it, which launches Xbox software. Russ, you were going to go and take a look at it, but you decided to stay home because flying from Hawaii to Germany is insane. It's so far. Like, you went last year. And how long was that flight?
It's not just the flight, it's the connections, because there's no like direct Honolulu to Berlin, So it was it's about 30 hours travel time from Hawaii to Gamescom in Cologne. And I was planning on going, but other things came up, so I ended up canceling. But yeah, 30 hours there, 30 hours back for about a 3-hour event. And so it was going to be a lot of lost time and a lot of work. And so, yeah, I ended up not going. But yeah, I'm very interested in this launch, just because I do think that this is a bit of a step more so than it was from the Ally to the Ally X. It feels like there's more going on, mostly on the software side, but I do want to be part of that stuff. So yeah, I'm feeling bad that I didn't go, but overall, I think it's still really exciting.
It is really exciting, and I think that you hit something that's really important. I think most people are less excited for the hardware. Well, okay, that's not fair. I think most people who would regularly watch this podcast or our channels would be less excited for the hardware because the hardware just seems like it's the same thing, but with an Xbox button. But the software is very, very interesting. And it seems to me like Microsoft or Xbox is, they're copying Steam's homework, essentially. Like, they're looking at what Valve did with the Steam Deck and they're saying, let's do that same thing. And it makes a lot of sense. And I think that this is a very good thing because competition is the whole reason that this is happening. We'll talk about what stuff that Microsoft is copying in a second, but basically, if the Steam Deck didn't exist, I don't think that Microsoft would be doing these things right now. Do you agree with that? Or do you think that, well, it's just two things that happen to happen in similar time frames?
I definitely think that the Steam Deck motivated them to do something about it. I think they already knew they had problems with like the user interface when it came to the handheld experience. I mean, Phil Spencer's talked about it a lot, about how he hates that experience, So I think that they already kind of knew it was a problem, but SteamOS really is motivating them to kind of compete. And it feels almost to me like a Android versus Apple thing, where sometimes a feature will pop up on one, and then it'll show up on the other one eventually. And Apple, if they're the ones that are in second place and they come out afterwards, they pretend like they invented it, but it's always the same.
They give it a name.
Right, exactly. Like, oh, introducing, and it's like a thing that's already on Android, So, like I can kind of feel like that's happening here. They're like, oh, let's just give it a different name and no one will notice, but it's fine. I like the competition and I'm happy that we're getting these features.
Yeah, so let's start with the things that the features that Microsoft is copying. I want to start off with, I like that you did the Android Apple comparison, because I think if this was an Android Apple thing, then Apple would call these magic shaders because that's just their vibe. But we've had shaders precompiled and downloaded or pre-cached and downloaded on Steam Deck for a really, really long time. Just to explain, I'm going to pretend to be Carrie for a second, but I can't do that. I'm going to give a kind of a technical explanation of what shaders are. Think of them as little tiny programs that need to run at certain times when you're playing a game, like maybe the first time that a character comes on screen or the first time that a certain move is used in the game. So this program has to run. Well, that uses up resources, and sometimes you get this little stuttering. So what Valve was doing when the Steam Deck came out is they said, well, we have this known hardware. We know exactly what this hardware is, so we can pre-compile those shaders, and then when you launch the game, it'll automatically download those shaders that are pre-compiled. They're already done, so your system doesn't have to do the heavy lifting, and it makes the gameplay experience smoother. A perfect example of this would be Elden Ring. When Elden Ring launched right alongside the Steam Deck was one of the best places to play it because it didn't have any shader compilation issues. There was no stuttering because of that, and it gave us smoother gameplay. And now Microsoft is... I love that you said introducing, because that's exactly what it says on their website. It says introducing advanced shader delivery. So first off, did I get that right? Did I talk about that the right way?
Yeah, you're right. And some other examples would be like, for example, it can be done in game. So Uncharted, and I think maybe The Last of Us on Windows, they actually do it within the game. So you start up the game and it like forces you to, well, it doesn't force you, but it requests that you compile all your shaders ahead of time before you start the game. So when you install one of those games, you got to wait a while before you can actually play it. But that's, it's an investment into just having a better experience later. And it happens a lot on emulation as well, especially the higher end stuff. Nintendo Switch is a good example. Switch emulation, they have an option to make it asynchronous shader compilation, which means that it will still make the game run smoothly without any of those hiccups, but the shaders will compile on the fly as it's happening. So when that character is first introduced that first time, it will be like half the character, and then like parts of them will start appearing because it's like asynchronous instead of making the game pause until everything looks pretty. And so, yeah, they're just basically pre-downloading that as part of the game package, which is pretty interesting. I mean, they give an example in this article that they're showing here that with Avowed, the Obsidian game, it makes the loading times, like for starting up the game, 85% faster by doing this.
Yeah, and it's very, very useful. And actually, every time I start the game Avowed, because I've been playing a lot of it, well, not this week because I was on vacation, but before vacation, I've been playing a lot of Avowed. And every time you start that game, it shows you, it's like we're compiling shaders, and you just have to wait for, on my system, not very long because it compiles them relatively quickly. But the advantage of having known hardware is that all of those shaders can be pre-compiled and then just waiting for you to download them. So when you start the game for the first time, it'll download all of those shaders. Now, every single time that there's a driver update or a hardware change, then new shaders have to be compiled, which is why we see this stuff happening more and more often. But I think that this is a really good thing, and it's going to mean for smoother gameplay, not just on this Windows or Xbox handheld, but probably on Windows as a whole, because every time that Russ uses his graphics card with this driver version and starts a game, it's going to upload those precompiled shaders up to the servers and then download them to when I start the game. So Russ kind of does that work for me that first time, which means that the game gets smoother as time goes on, which a lot of us have seen on the Steam Deck. And I think that that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's cool they did it. It's one of those things where it's like as soon as they announced it, I was like, yeah, why don't they already do this? And so it's good that they're adding this in.
Yeah, so let's move on to other things that Microsoft is copying. We have this article from The Verge. Basically, it says Microsoft is bringing PC gaming app stores to Xbox app on Windows. This isn't exactly something that Steam already does, but on a Steam Deck, if you want, you can install BattleNet, you can install GOG, you can install the Epic Games Store, and then not really, but then you can use things like a Heroic Launcher in order to launch that game. Microsoft is going through and doing this for you because we're already going to have a lot of these things installed on our systems. So then when we load up our Xbox app, which apparently launches as soon as you turn on the device, which is good news, it shows you this My Apps section, and it shows you the other launchers that you have installed, including Steam, which is where most people have their stuff. Do you feel like you have had hands-on with the Xbox, with this software? I know it was super early days, and you only got a couple of minutes before you had to get pushed out of the room and moved on to the next thing. But when you had hands-on with this, did it feel like something where you were like, okay, I can easily see how I can jump into Steam and then use that through the Xbox app, or did it feel clunky to you?
It still felt a little clunky, to be honest, but again, very early, and it was really just navigating through the games that were already on there as opposed to like apps and stores and stuff. But I already got this feeling like there's a lot of tabs and a lot of like navigation that happens within it. Yes, it's all controller focused, which is great and stuff, but yeah, I do think it'll probably still require a bit of finagling and just kind of fine tuning over the coming months. I don't think that they're going to launch it perfectly, but hopefully they'll get feedback and kind of get it better. But I do like the idea of, having my GOG Galaxy right then and there, and having the ability to add all my Steam stuff. What I really want, it's cool that it's there. And yes, I can go to my apps and see that. But what I really want is just a games list that's integrated with all of them. And they are working through that. So that's kind of the unified thing that I want to see is just start up the system, all my games right there, Steam, Xbox, GOG, doesn't matter. I can just launch them all there. Like that's ideal for me. If I need to go into a different tab to find the apps to install the next game, it's going to be a pain no matter what. But I'm not as concerned about that just because I want the games first. And once I got it all fine tuned, I don't know how often I'll be even going to that app, And so that's the way I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I think that the way that it's supposed... Well, Tom Warren wrote this. He said, My Apps tab is a new tab within the Xbox PC apps library that allows players to locate, view, and download third-party applications, most commonly used storefronts. A product manager from Xbox said, by consolidating gaming apps in one location, the feature supports a new aggregated gaming library. Seems like it's going to do exactly what you're talking about, Russ, where it auto-detects all of the stuff that's already on your system and then just shows it, not in the My Apps section, but to the left of that. I can't really see this because it's very, very small, but like in the My Games section, they're all going to be over there.
Yeah.
My big question is, okay, so if all of those things are going to be over there, what if I have a game that I bought on GOG, for example, and it's not installed? Then I probably am still going to have to go into GOG in order to download it, and then it would show up on the main games tab.
Right.
Does that seem like it makes sense to you?
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. And so that's going to be the pain point is being like, okay, I want to play this game. Where do I own it? Like you're going to have to look around for it. It's like It's like streaming, like, like I got my Apple TV at home and I'm like, I want to watch this movie. Where do I watch it? Well, let's pull up Netflix, see if it's there. Okay, let's go. And there are tools that allow to kind of unify that. And I just don't trust them. Like, I'm like, you're not getting this right. Let me go to the actual app and look, So that's kind of where I think we're going to be at. They might try. But at the end of the day, probably a lot of us are just going to go to that app and be like, okay, this is where I have GTA 5 installed. Like I got that for free on the Epic Game Store during the pandemic. And so that's where I can just go and grab it.
Do you see yourself like even bothering with the Xbox app, or do you see yourself just launching Steam in big picture mode?
No, I'm definitely going to use it. I want that Xbox integration. This is the thing that the Steam Deck doesn't have, right? It's like I want to... it's Game Pass, really. It's driving it, right? It's like that is a discovery mechanism for me to be able to play games that I didn't even realize I could play right now. And so I'm going to be in that Xbox ecosystem probably more than the Steam stuff because I already know what's in my Steam library. I know how to access that stuff. I want to go into that Xbox app and start just downloading games that are part of Game Pass, along with all my Steam library already sitting there. And having that all unified, it sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, I agree with that. Then we have a badge system. So right now, I went 3 years ago when the Steam Deck first launched, Valve talked about this badge system, which was basically a verification system that said, these are the games that are going to run on your system that you bought. It's called Steam Deck Verified. You've got the little green check for things that actually will absolutely 100% work. And whatever. You have the yellow mark for things that will work, but you might have to jump through a couple of hoops. And then you have like the circle with the line through it for things that absolutely don't work. But then you have the ones that they haven't tested yet because there's, I don't know, like 100,000 games on Steam or whatever. They can't test them all. And so the ones that haven't been verified or tested yet, they just say, well, try it at your own risk. And it looks to me, or it looks like Xbox looked at that and said, that makes a lot of sense. Let's do that too. We've got this over from Windows Central. It says Xbox has revealed a new handheld compatibility program along with the Xbox Ally X release date, and it could fix what Steam still gets wrong. This is actually really interesting because I watched a video earlier about this, and apparently they have the rating system or the verification system or the badge system linked to how many frames per second that your game is running. And so I might get these wrong because I don't think it says in this actual... Oh, here we go. So there's, if you scroll down in there, it says, what is the compatibility program? Handheld Optimize indicates the games are ready to go with default controller inputs, an intuitive text input method, accurate iconography, clear text legibility, and appropriate resolution in full screen mode so you can spend less time adjusting settings and more time defeating the next big boss. So that doesn't say anything about performance. That's just about will the game start, basically is what they're saying. Then you have mostly compatible, which indicates the games may require minor in-game setting changes for an optimal experience. So this seems like handheld optimized. That's basically their Steam Deck verified badge. Mostly compatible is essentially the yellow badge. But then if you scroll down even further, they are combining it with Windows Performance Fit indicators, which will tell you how well the games are going to run. So essentially, if you are playing a game, or if you're looking at a game and it says, I can't remember exactly. Oh, here we go. We got, nope, that's the Steam Deck ones. All right, I can't remember the words that they used, but they were like, if it runs at 60 frames per second and higher, then it's going to say this. And if it runs at 30 frames per second to 60 frames per second, then it's going to say this. And that's something that Valve doesn't do. Competition is good because this might push Valve to start talking about whether or not games will actually run on the system. What do you think about that, Russ?
Yeah, to clarify, it's should play great is one of the badges, and should play well is the other badge. And so I don't know if it's not going to play well, what badge they're going to give it, but that's what they say in their press release. So
well, no badge.
Yeah. plays like crap, So yeah, I think it's good. I like that additional layer. It seems a bit complicated. Like you've got 2 badges going now. You've got like your optimized versus mostly compatible, and then you've also got should play great, should play well. So we're looking at like this combination factor of like, okay, is it red and yellow equals orange? Like what are we looking here? And so I don't like that it's already feeling a little convoluted just because there's multiple layers and be like, okay, compatibility is fine, performance, and so I don't know if they could do a better job in being like, make a third one that says like optimized and runs well with your system, that kind of thing, like and then just look for that badge. So it does look a little bit Microsoft-y in that it's like overly complicated, and they always just throw another layer of complication on top of things. But I like that they're thinking about it and they're coming up with a system, and hopefully it'll just get refined over time. That's the thing, is like, none of this stuff is going to work great right out of the box. We're not going to be like, we're here, it's endgame, like it's going to require like some work and some like early adopter hiccups like we had with SteamOS. Like I'm fully expecting there to be bugs and stuff. The issue is going to be, whether or not people are like, oh, look, this is a failed machine because, they don't have their optimization stuff correct or whatever. Like,
well, I guarantee that's going to happen.
Right.
There's going to be half of the, not half, I would say 40%. Yeah, 40% of the people will say, this is a piece of crap. Another 40% of the people will say, this is the greatest thing that's ever been built. And then 20% of the people will be like, well, it's kind of like there's a gray area here. Yeah. And they're going to be the quiet ones that don't say anything. But all of the back and forth nonsense is going to be, this is console wars bullshit all over again, I guarantee. And you know what? That's what we're here for, I guess. Nothing we can do about it.
The interesting thing, though, is that like I'm surprised at how many things I've seen from people who are like, what is this thing? Like they're seeing the Xbox Ally X for the first time. They're like, oh, look at that. It's a handheld Xbox, and I like that. I like that it's kind of permeating into kind of new spheres of gamers, people who weren't kind of aware of all the other stuff that's going on, people who aren't watching this podcast. And so I really like that. I like that it's getting a bigger kind of umbrella, more people, the better. I think the more people that test things, that come up with the problems, that come up with solutions, like it's all good stuff. So, yeah.
Speaking of solutions, that you were talking about the badge system and how it's convoluted. I wonder if they could combine the badges into one badge. So like do color coding with the first set of badges that we talked about, and then just add numbers into it. Like this is the minimum frames per second that you should expect when playing this game. So if a game meets all of the standards that Microsoft has said that I read off before, and it runs at 60 frames per second, so it would have a green badge with a 60 written in the middle. And people would start to understand that over time. Yeah. I also really like what you said about this is going to bring in more people into this space. Because right now, if you took your Steam Deck, your ROG Ally X, your Lenovo Legion Go, your MSI Claw, any of those devices, you took any PC handheld out into the world, people would look at it and say, that's a Nintendo Switch. They don't know any of this stuff. They've never seen any of this stuff. It's new to most people. People who watch this channel and who watch like stuff about PC handhelds, I think that a lot of times they tend to forget that most people have no clue about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's still to the point where people ask me, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm like, oh, like, I don't want to say that I review like handhelds. And like, what do you mean handhelds? Like you review the Switch? And yeah, like it's one of those things where I just say, oh, I do like hardware, like PC hardware reviews. Is basically what I say, just because those are easy words. But handheld PCs and, handheld retro emulation devices, it's just not there yet, which is fine. It's totally cool, very much so a niche. But yeah, I feel like the Xbox Ally X is a step towards making it more mainstream, which is cool.
Also, to make things a little less niche, I saw the other day, I don't know if it was Target or Walmart or Best Buy or something, but they were advertising retro handhelds. And I saw them and I was like, oh, wow, that's going to blow some people's minds because most people have no clue about those things. All right, let's move on from Microsoft and talk about Valve's Fremont. Could be a Steam machine. This is some really interesting stuff. Somebody hooked up Valve's Fremont and did a benchmark using Geekbench. And the thing about Geekbench is unless you pay for the pro version, you are connected to the internet, and then it automatically uploads that, I guess, score or benchmark to Geekbench, and then it's just there for anybody to find. And sadly, it's Bradley found it, and he posted it over on his Twitter account, and sure enough, everybody's been looking at it. I made a video about it yesterday, and this is very interesting stuff. So, real quick, it's powered by an RX 7600 graphics card. It has 8 gigs of RAM. I don't know why this stupid advertisement keeps covering everything up. Thank you. It's got 6 cores, 12 threads. Stop doing that. Base frequency of 3.2 gigahertz. It boosts up to 4.8 gigahertz. It is based on Hawk Point 2, and it is an AMD custom CPU. So what do you think about the quote-unquote stats that we're seeing with this particular hardware from Fremont? I think a lot of people are feeling it's underpowered.
Yeah, that's my first impression was like, wow, it's not a huge leap, right? Like it really is, probably good enough right now, but I don't know, years in the future and stuff. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a red herring, they're just trying out multiple different CPUs and different configurations, and this is just the score that they got with this initial test or what. But yeah, for me, it is better than I think it's around. Isn't it around the same score as the Z2 Extreme in terms of like single core scores?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I compared it to, like in my video, I compared it to the Steam Deck, and roughly it is a 2x performance over the Steam Deck. So right. It's more than a Z. Wait, did you say Z1E or Z2E?
Z2 Extreme, yeah, the new one.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Z2E. Like I don't know those benchmarks really well. I wonder if you could find that on Geekbench. I'm actually going to look real quick.
I think it's listed in the article. It says,
is it?
For comparison, the Z2 Extreme, based on Zen 5 cores, scored 2748 single core and 12,182 in multi-core. So that is quite a bit better than this Fremont one that we just saw, especially in multi-core.
It is. But the thing is the Z2E, like that's not measuring the GPU.
Right.
Against it, right? That's only comparing the CPU. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're right. And that's one of the things is that like this is a CPU benchmark. Like I'd rather see, my 3D Mark, Time Spy, like the things that I usually test with, that's what I'd rather see in terms of gaming and whatnot. But it's fine. I do not plan on using a Steam machine in my living room to do productivity tasks. So I don't need like a super powerful CPU for those kind of things. I'm not going to video edit on this thing. But I'm more interested to see what that performance will be like at the gaming side. And so it's cool that they have this. If anything, it's just an indication to me that something's going on, and it's just kind of pushing closer and closer to a potential living room build. But otherwise, the scores themselves, at least when it comes to the CPU, is not blowing away. It's a 6-core CPU, so I don't have huge expectations for that.
Right. This did not occur to me when I was working on my video, but after I posted my video, I watched Jimmy's video, friend of the show, Jimmy Champagne. He's got a channel about the Steam Deck as well. And he was saying, you know what, he came up with a really good, like almost conspiracy theory. You know how recently somebody got their hands on, I don't remember who it was, but somebody got their hands on a Steam Deck prototype, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
Jimmy said, well, what if somebody got a hold of Fremont and then just like an old version of Fremont that they were working on, and they just hooked it up to test it. And that's the information that they got. I mean, that's certainly possible.
Right.
When you look at the Geekbench score, it doesn't say who. I don't think it says who uploaded it.
Right.
Like mine, it says when you look at anything that I uploaded, it would say NerdNest, or when you look at anything that's like, usually they have like a username attached. But when I went to the actual Geekbench score, I don't think I saw like, it didn't say Valve.
Right. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
the thing, is this may not be Valve. Like, it may have just been like some person who got a part and it just is registering as that. And yeah, who knows how old this build is or anything else, or whether or not it ever is going to come to be. But always interesting just to kind of see that something is happening and whether or not it's brand new. I don't know. Like, I'd love for someone in Valve to be like, don't even worry about this. This is so far from what we're working on. Like, that'd be great, you know, but.
Yeah. If they did that, then every time some Yahoo said a rumor and they didn't respond, then that's like confirming this. I think I made a video about this, I don't know, a year ago, basically saying Valve should never respond to rumors, because I can't remember which rumor they responded to, but they responded to some rumor. And I was like, that is a huge mistake. You never respond to rumors, because if you do, then you have to respond to every rumor. Because if you don't, people will assume that that rumor is automatically true because you didn't say anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
All right, let's move on from hardware and talk about Gamescom. There was a ton of things announced at Gamescom. Russ, in this article that is over at Eurogamer, it says everything announced at Opening Night Live, which is basically kind of like the Game Awards, but without the awards. It's just a bunch of trailers and stuff, which is very exciting. I didn't get a chance to watch it live because I was traveling at the time. But what jumps out to you is things that you're excited for?
Well, I got to say that I've been getting a lot of emails over the past month because I had registered for Gamescom and all that stuff, and then it put me on the media list, and so it's just everyone's like, "Hey, my new game's coming out, come to my booth and stuff." So I've been inundated with a lot of these announcements, mostly on the indie side, though. Like these kind of cottage industry, like people just trying to work on their own kind of stuff. But the one that really stood out to me, and it's ridiculous, is a new Lego Batman game. I don't know, I feel like I've just been associating Lego games with Star Wars for so many years at this point. And I know the Horizon game came out and I didn't play that one, but I don't know. A new Lego Batman sounds pretty great because they made 2 or 3 of them already. And my son loved them. He played through all those. He's now 16. So I don't think he's got a lot of interest in it, but my 9-year-old is at that perfect age where this might be really fun for him. And, they love the Lego movie games, and these guys, the Lego Batman kind of has that, Lego movie look to him now. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this. I remember when my son was younger, we would play the Lego games all of the time, and they were pretty fun to play with him. But after a while, the gameplay kind of got it's just too friggin' repetitive. It's walk to a new location, punch a bunch of things until you have parts, put them together, move to the next location, do the same thing. And it was just rinse and repeat over and over and over. Then I think the most recent full-on Lego game was the Skywalker Saga. And that didn't do that. I mean, there were still parts of that where you would break something and then build something, because that's what you do. Though.
Yeah.
Right. It did. It felt like a full game, and you had much better controls and all of that stuff. And this one, I don't know about you, but this combat is reminding me of the Arkham games. It doesn't look like Lego combat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally can see that. It feels, it feels like they're kind of moving away from that, which is great. I love that Skywalker Saga game. It's one of those games where I play it for a few minutes. I'm like, I got to stop playing this because it's so good. I want to save myself for later and play this later, and I just keep doing that in 5-10 minute increments. And so, yeah, I'm liking it. And, another game with that kind of style, I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm definitely looking forward to the Lego Batman game. I'm also, did you play the Indiana Jones game yet?
I am still stuck in Egypt. I mean, I've gotten far enough, but I do want to get further in it. Yeah, but I never finished it.
Yeah, I finished it that game came out last year. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I think
it came out last
year. Yeah.
Okay. So I played that. I didn't play it last year because I played it in January, and so far in 2025, I think it's my favorite game that I've played this year. I had so much fun playing this game. The guy, I can't remember who does his voice. Do you remember who does his voice?
I forgot his name, but yeah, he's well known. Yeah.
He's unbelievably good as Indy. He sounds just like a young Harrison Ford. They nailed the feel of just running around as Indiana Jones and, fighting dudes. Like, it's not about shooting. It's about punching. It's about stealth. It's about, uncovering mysteries and solving puzzles. And they just announced the new DLC, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, the Order of Giants. The Giants played a big role in that game. Yeah. If you've watched the trailer for the original one, you would know. I'm not telling you, Russ. I'm telling everybody who hasn't played the game yet. Yeah. If you haven't played it, you should absolutely play it if you can. If you can subscribe to Game Pass, or if you can buy the game, it's really, really good. Super satisfying ending, and I cannot wait to go back and play more Indy. I hope that they just keep churning these out, because I like more and more stories. I feel like this is the kind of game we just don't get anymore.
Yeah, I think that Indiana Jones as a whole really just kind of is tailored to something like this, where you just have these episodic moments, right? You don't really need to know about all the lore with Indiana Jones. Just put him in a situation where he's got to figure out some puzzles and get away from the bad guys and unlock some sort of ancient mystery. Like, all that stuff is just Indiana Jones, and you can plop him in all sorts of different scenarios. And so I think that, the graphics are already good, the gameplay is good, and just kind of, keep popping in a little bit more content. I think that sounds fun. And the name of the actor is Troy Baker. I just looked it up. So.
Oh, yeah. He's so good. And that comes out September 4th. So, it's not very far away. We're going to be playing it soon.
Yeah.
All right, back to the list. Do you have anything else in the list that you thought looked good?
So I kept my eye on Onimusha. I hate to admit this as like a PS2 era gamer, but I never played any Onimusha game. But I think this one looks cool. And so, I don't know, feels like it's time to maybe get into the franchise. And I like the idea of jumping into something new and then, getting a feel for it. And then later on going back to the old ones and kind of seeing how much of that DNA is still there.
Well, so I'm with you. I've never played the Onimusha games. What kind of games are they?
They are like swordplay, like kind of parry style games. So they had my understanding is they kind of have like a Arkham Knight sort of feel to them. Surrounded by bad guys and kind of fight your way out of it is always the way I felt it. And there's some stealth elements to it too. But yeah, I never played this one or Tenchu, and so it's like I get them mixed up sometimes. But yeah, this one for me was more combat related, where Tenchu was more stealth related.
Is it like Souls-like combat or less or more forgiving? Because Souls-like combat always makes me scared.
I don't think it had a Souls-like element to it. I think it was more of that kind of surrounded by bad guys kind of thing. Because it was initially Capcom, I think, who made Onimusha. Now I got to look this up. Let's look it up.
It is Capcom because I saw it at the beginning of the trailer and I almost said, "Oh, it's Capcom," because I like Capcom stuff.
Yeah. And so it reminded me of like Dead Rising, that kind of era, like that, kind of like. Third person game, lots of enemies around and different ways to kind of attack them and stuff. So, yeah, it looks like they're
awesome.
Like just the Wikipedia says, hack and slash combat and puzzle elements. Devil May Cry kind of feel to it. I always had that kind of feel with it as well, just because it's that same sort of era. But yeah.
All right. So then there was Resident Evil Requiem had their world premiere. Are you a fan of Resident Evil games?
I'm a fan of the idea of Resident Evil games, but I can't play them. Like, they're just so scary, Like, I still can't play through 4. I played through 4 in the GameCube, and I played that game in inches, where it took me 6 months because I'd be like, I just inch forward until it would activate something with the enemy where they would come at me. That way I would just get them like one at a time. Like, the village scene in Resident Evil 4 on GameCube and PS2 is still like that's freaking nightmare material for me because they just keep coming. Nowadays you can play it and like turn on cheats and stuff, and it's like, why was I ever worried about this stuff? But Yeah, back in the day, that was a harrowing game, and I have not played through any other game on Resident Evil except for I did play through 5, but I had a buddy like Sherpa me through the whole thing, because it's a fast game, and so we did it all in one night on the Xbox 360. So that's it.
My son and one of his friends played through Resident Evil 5 over one night themselves, like, I don't know, a month ago or something.
Yeah.
He came up, he was like, I love it so much. He had so much fun with it. And most people really did not like that game.
Yeah.
Because it was the least scary of all of them.
Right. Yeah. And that was the nice thing. I mean, that was the first one, I think, where you could aim and walk at the same time, and so that was like a big deal. It made it much more actiony. And yeah, my buddy, when he like shivered me through, he had already beat it a few times over. And so he had it unlocked where he had like the missile launcher from like the bazooka from the very beginning. And so when there was a bad guy or whatever, and like, oh, here comes the boss fight, he's like, don't worry about it. And they would just kill him like one shot, And part of me was like, I kind of wanted to see what the mechanics were for this guy. We don't just have to get these achievements, But yeah, it's kind of interesting. So what about Requiem? I haven't seen anything about it.
Well, so basically it doesn't feature like the main characters that we've been following for 7 or for 8. And I don't know if this is a new character, because I'm a Resident Evil noob. I played the original Resident Evil on my PlayStation. I had borrowed it from a friend, and I really did like that game. But then I was way more into PC gaming, and Resident Evil games were not on PC at the time, so I just didn't play any of the other ones until Resident Evil 7 came out. And I played Resident Evil 7, and that game, like, Russ, I'm telling you right now, do not touch that game. That game is terrifying.
That one has a VR version too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think all of them have VR versions at this point. And I didn't try 7 in VR. I tried 8 in VR, and there was, or maybe it was 7. I can't remember which one it was. But like, so I have a PSVR 2. I stand in here, and I'm like walking as slow as I possibly can. What'd you say, like inch by inch or something?
Inches, yeah.
Yeah. I'm playing the game by inches. This is at the very beginning of the game. There's like a car crash, and you're walking through the woods. Very, very beginning of the game. And I come to this shack, and like I open the door, and then I just stood there in front of the door waiting. And my wife was like, well, are you gonna go? And I was like, I don't want to. It was just too scary. Right. And I was like, and then I had my son come up, and he was like, he handed him the controllers, and I'm watching him on the TV, and he is just running through everything, fighting werewolves and stuff. Doesn't bother him at all, but it's like I was immersed, and I was scared, and I was really impressed.
Yeah.
I will not play them in VR. No way.
Yeah.
But playing them in traditional controllers on a TV, heck yes. I cannot wait for this. It looks really good. It looks really scary. The one thing that's weird about this one is this lets you switch between first person and third person. And one of the reviews, or not reviews, one of the previews that I saw, that somebody said that they had put it in third person because they thought it would be less scary. And they said it was not. It was still too scary for them. So these games are scary.
It's funny because, like, for me, I think it really just boils down to, I was thinking about it existentially as you were talking. It's like, so when I play a video game, like I'm very empathetic. Like I become that character, like it just in my mind, like it's just how I operate, And so I usually will play the way that I would, like Russ as a person in the game would play. So with Mass Effect and, with like Knights of the Old Republic, I am the goodest of the good guys, like I pick all the best things, and try to have like it's a reflection of me, And with this scary game, like I think I'm immersed into it. And my initial thought is like, I actually just don't want to be here. I don't want to do this thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm a hero saving the world. I am just going to be going up against horror after horror after horror. And for some reason, I'm like, I actually, if I was in this situation, I would just nope out. I am not Leon Kennedy, who is going to like go and find the president's daughter. I would just call it in and be like, you know what, guys, someone else needs to come in. And so I think that's why I never finish all those Resident Evil games, is because it is just a little bit too immersive for me. Like I I don't have a problem watching a scary movie, but man, if I'm in control of walking into like something horrible, I just don't want to be in control of that. So
that makes a lot of sense. Though here's a game that you might be willing to play. I don't think it's scary at all, and it's the next game that I thought was very interesting. Do you like? I can't think of what the genre is called. Those games where you just like use one stick, like Vampire Survivors, where you just use one stick and you move around and it just auto attacks the world around you. That's what I got from looking at this. And the game is called Death by Scrolling, and it actually looks pretty cool. It's pixely, like pixel-based kind of game, and the world is always scrolling, and you play as this character with like a circle around you. I'm assuming the circle is like where you will attack if enemy comes into that area. And you just have to make sure that the world doesn't scroll past you. It's from Micropose and Robin Gilbert. And I think that this looks really cool. It has different characters that you can pick. And basically you start it up and get as far as you can and then keep trying while death is hunting you at the bottom of the screen. Does this look like something that's up your alley?
It's interesting. Yeah, it looks like almost like a puzzle game, right? You kind of have to get around barriers and stuff as you're scrolling up. And it kind of reminds me almost of a shooter game, like a shmup, you know, where it's always scrolling as well. But yeah, I don't know. It looks a little stressful with death kind of coming at you all the time. That happens in Vampire Survivors too. If you like get past a certain time limit, you know, then death starts coming for you, you know, and it's like, oh, God, you gotta get away from them. And so I don't know. It looks fun. I can see us kind of going multiple ways and kind of being a little bit stressful, but yeah, it looks fun. Like I like the pixel animation that makes it a little bit more inviting. Yeah, palatable.
All right, let's talk about. Oh, there's one other thing that I wanted to mention. Did you watch Fallout?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you watch the preview for season 2?
I did not. No, I like going into things blind.
I'm not going to tell you anything about it because I don't want you to be spoiled. But God, I am so excited for this. Walton Goggins is so good in that. The first season was so damn good, and everything that I'm seeing from the next season, I didn't expect it to be this soon. Like it surprised me that we already have a trailer.
Yeah, I mean, we're at this point now where we're waiting like 2 or 3 years between seasons, so it's pretty interesting that it's coming by so fast. Yeah, I mean, I got a little bit of a tease about like the location of where the next season will be, and so that's kind of interesting. That's about it.
And it is confirmed that it is that location, but I won't tell anybody what that location is. All right, this one I think really stands out to Russ. Bungie is going through some changes. Their CEO is stepping down. The game is in probably the worst state it's been in a very, very long time. I know that you're a huge fan of Destiny 2. How do you feel about this? Are you still playing it, or have you given up on it?
So I'm not one of those people who's like a huge advocate for Destiny 2. I love the idea of it and stuff, but I have not played it much over the past, 5-7 years. Mostly because my friend group that I played with, like we played it nightly. It was Destiny 1 at the time. You know, we played this nightly. We went through the raids. We were like in it for a while, like a good year, I would say. You know, that was just my game. Like I had an Xbox One that was a Destiny machine, you know. Destiny 2 came out. We played that for a while and kind of fell off. And then the group kind of splintered. And now they all play other stuff. But I still come back to it every time there's a new update or whatever. And so I did play it yesterday. I played it yesterday for an hour or two, actually, playing through this new, I think it's not Edge of Fate, whatever the newest one is. But it's,
I don't remember.
They completely revamped the system, like all the numbers and the leveling and all that kind of stuff is completely different now. So and I like it. Like I like that I'm coming in and I'm like, hey, everyone else is new. I'm new. Like, let's just kind of jump into it. I haven't followed a lot of the Bungie behind the scenes stuff, but I do know that CEO was like, people did not like that guy. Like was firing people and then also showing off all of his like high value classic cars at the same time. Ooh. Like he had a lot of off-putting things going on. So yeah, I don't know anything beyond that surface level, you know, but, I just want them to keep going. Like, I just want them to keep working on stuff because I love this idea of playing Halo esque games, you know, that have a lot of depth to them if you want to jump into it, but then also making it pretty approachable if you just want to shoot some bad guys for a while, which is all I ever do. I just do what they call strikes, which are just like these 10 to 20 minute episodes that you can play at any time. They randomize them. So that's all I usually will ever do is just jump into strikes, and it's like a 3-person activity. And so you just get hooked up with 2 strangers, and I turn all the voice chat off and just treat them like bots, you know. But that's basically all. The only way I play Destiny 2 now is just kind of run through strikes and, you know, just maybe mess around and shoot and stuff. And so, yeah, I like that they're still going with it. I'm not the kind of person who's like actually waiting for the next thing and, you know, whatnot. Like I'm still so many DLCs behind, even though I own them all. It's just, it is what it is, but I like that it's there. So
that's fair. Are you worried at all with like now that he's leaving? I mean, it seems like it's a good thing that he's leaving if those allegations are true. It seems like at this point Sony is going to step in and just complete. I mean, I know that they already own Bungie, but they were letting them do their own thing. You think them letting them do their own thing is effectively over at this point?
It's so hard to say. You know, I don't have enough insight into it, but my worry about this and why Destiny 2, I think it requires this much like kind of attention from its audience and whatnot, is that it's an online game. And so it's like, it's not that we can just go back and play some of that stuff. We actually need Bungie to keep it going, you know? And so that's kind of the thing that I've always kind of been focused on is like, okay, can I still play Destiny 2? Like, have they taken away all that stuff? Like, that's the thing I'm worried about. And it's just such a weird game, you know, just that it's... for me, I treat it like a single player game. Like I treat it like a single player experience, but that's not like I'm just a tiny slice of the whole game. But I want to make sure that that's still accessible 10 years from now because I want to play that again, you know. And
the combat is awesome.
Right, exactly. And that's all I want. I just want to be able to jump in and shoot some bad guys in a Halo-esque environment. I'd never listened to the story. I've never paid attention to that stuff. I've only used a hunter the whole time so I can do my triple jumps. Like those are the things that like I just like doing, you know. I know there are other things you can do in the game, but it's that combat loop that I actually enjoy, and none of the other stuff really matters that much to me.
That's fair. All right, let's talk about the Analogue 3D. It got delayed again for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I spent money. I bought this thing thinking it was going to show up, and then I went out and I bought 2 N64 style, sort of, the 8-bit do N64 controllers to go with it. And then I went to my local retro shop and I bought other stuff to go with it. And all of this stuff is sitting in my office here, just taking up space. And it is driving me up the wall. In July, they said, we're shipping them in August. And then 2 days ago, they posted this. Analogue has been moving at a maximum pace, processing shipping to everyone who's been patiently waiting. Unexpected, uncommon issues are rare, especially in a negligible degree under esoteric circumstances. This reads like AI nonsense. Who wrote this? This is awful. We're ensuring every detail meets our standard. Nonetheless, we know this sucks. Another delay announced late after months of patience. We feel it too. Russ, are we ever going to get our hands on the Analogue 3D?
I think it's coming. I don't want to talk too much about it from my perspective, just because, I had planned on testing this very soon, and I don't know what's going on at this point. But like you, let me tell you this story. So and you kind of already know some of this stuff. So I knew this was something that was coming out, and I was like, initially I didn't purchase it, but I was like, all right, this actually seems pretty neat. So I went in, I went to my local game store, Book Off, which is, just down the street. And I was like, all right, let me grab some Nintendo 64 games. And then I realized, I'm like, well, there are specific games I want to test. So let me look at those and what are the prices and whatnot. And it's like $30, $40 per game at our local store here. And so I end up spending $150 getting like 4 or 5 games. And I was like, okay, this was a lot of money. I don't think I can keep doing this for all the other games I want to test, And so then I went online and I was like, all right, the Analogue 3D is going to be region unlocked. So I can buy Japanese versions of these games, right? And I expected them actually to be here at my local store because we got a lot of Japanese imports, but they didn't have much of any of them. And so I went online and I just started buying Japanese games. And I got no joke, I got 12 or 13 games for another $150. So as opposed to 4 or 5 US games, I got another a good dozen of them. All the ones that I wanted that I don't plan on having to read the text that often. You know what I mean? I don't need to read Mario 64 stuff. I can just buy the Japanese version and play that, So I'm $300 in at this point, right? And then dumb me was like, oh my gosh, there are flash carts for the Nintendo 64. It didn't even go into my head until I had spent $300 that I can just get one flash cart and put all the games on that, right? So then I got two flash carts, another $150, and so I am eagerly anticipating this Analogue 3D launch because I want to get some of this, almost $500 that I've spent now in content for this. And it's fine. I actually, I've got a cartridge dumper that works with Nintendo 64, so I can dump these games too. So it's I want to show all that stuff in the video. But it is becoming a very expensive review unit at this point, the amount of money that I'm spending just to be able to properly test it in all the ways that I want to. But Rogue Squadron is one of those that I picked up, and I spent the premium for it, $45 or so for the US version, because this is so hard to emulate, and so I really want to test this one.
Yeah, it's the one that everybody was always talking about how great it was. I never actually played Rogue Squadron on the N64 because, again, when the N64 was out, I used it to play Mario, I used it to play Zelda, I used it to play Blast Corps. Did you pick up Blast Corps?
I did. Well, Japanese one, but yes.
Okay. Yeah. Right. It doesn't matter. But I used it to play Blast Corps, and the rest of my time was spent playing Ultima Online or EverQuest at the time, or eventually World of Warcraft. But I absolutely would love to pick up Rogue Squadron. It's not at my local game shop where I go to pick up retro games. It's not available. I'm glad to hear it's region free though, so I can just pick up things. Because there were other games, I think there was a Mario Golf game that I wanted to pick up, but it was in Japanese, and I was like, or it was a Japan one, and I was like, I don't know if that'll work on this. So I'm glad to hear it's region free.
Yeah. It's it'll be interesting. The flash cart I think is probably the fastest and easiest way to go about it, but they are expensive. You can get one on Amazon. It's around $80, but then the EverDrive is, there's two different versions of the EverDrive. One's cheaper, X5, and then there's the X7, and it goes up to $150, $200 for one of the higher end ones. And it gets expensive, but I get it. That's cheaper than buying all the games, and so I'm well prepared for this thing to come out at this point, just because I've got every single way that I can test it at this point. So yeah.
That's good. I mean, all told, it seems like you spent about $500 for this.
Yeah. And then
you still can't use it.
I still can't use it, but it's all good. It's just the one collection where I really didn't own any of the games already. If there was something else, Super Nintendo, Nintendo Genesis, all that stuff, I've got so many of those cartridges just from my childhood, and then I just bought over the years. But Nintendo 64, I only had 2 cartridges before this, and it was a Ready to Rumble Boxing and Mario Party 6 in Japanese. So yeah, I needed some more cartridges. Yeah.
Fair enough. So let's real quick, I want to talk about some games that are upcoming and that have gotten reviews. But before we do, I want to play this. Where is the button? There it is. I want to play this call from Brian, who sent in this question asking about blind spots. Give it a listen.
Hello, NerdNest podcast. My question is, what is a blind spot in your gaming history that you want to experience one day? Whether that's a particular game, a game franchise, hardware, anything you have yet to experience that you want to get your hands on someday.
So, Russ, what do you think?
Nintendo 64 catalog.
I mean,
that is a huge blind spot for me because I, in that era, didn't play any video games. I had a little bit early PS1 experience with a buddy who had bought one, and we played the demo discs for a lot of stuff before a lot of these games were released. And then I just fell off and was doing other things. And so Nintendo 64, I only played one time, and it was like my brother had rented it. And we played like Wave Race for a little bit, and it was so confusing having an analog stick, and that was it. And so up until starting Retro Game Core and like starting to emulate and stuff, I hadn't played most of those games, and I still haven't, because it doesn't feel like a genuine experience, And so I'm really hoping this Analog 3D will actually bridge that gap for me. It plays with the original controller, so I also forgot about that, but I bought an original Nintendo 64 controller too, which are not cheap. And so that's another thing I bought in preparation for this review, is to like test it versus the 8-bit DOE one. So this is like a big blind spot for me. Dreamcast is the same thing. Like, it's just systems that were coming out around that era where I didn't play games. So hardware wise, yeah, those are systems that I still don't own originally and still kind of want to play through. There's other stuff like Virtual Boy and Saturn too is another one I didn't own that I always wanted to. So those are probably my big blind spots, is like that 1994 to 1998, 99 era where I just, there was a lot of gaps for me.
So for me, it's my biggest gap starts in like 2001 until like 2010. And that's because mostly I was just playing World of Warcraft and I wasn't playing anything else. I wouldn't play games all day. I had my raid team, and we would say, okay, on Wednesdays, we would meet up at 9 o'clock after the kids are in bed and sit down and try and kill a monster. And most of the time we failed, and sometimes we won, and it was awesome. But I didn't have like consoles to play on. That's not the reason why my biggest blind spot, or the blind spot I'm going to mention, that was because I didn't have a PS2. And that's the Metal Gear Solid games. I had a PS1, and I did play about 10 minutes of the original Metal Gear Solid. And I thought that was pretty cool, but I didn't own it. I just tried it like a friend had brought it over, and I tried it, and I just never went out and bought it because I was this was well after like the game had come out. So it was like, I don't want to go back and play that. That's old, Yeah. But then it got announced that Metal Gear Solid Delta was happening, and they're starting with the Snake Eater one, which I've heard nothing but good things about. And I almost bought it twice. I bought it because it was on sale on Fanatical like 4 weeks ago or something. I pre-bought it, which I don't usually like to do, but I did it anyway because I knew I was going to be playing this game. And then I saw that there were reviews were out, so I forgot that I had ordered it on Fanatical, and I went into Steam and I added it to my cart, and I was like, I'll make that decision later on today. And then I got an email. This was yesterday, by the way. I got an email saying, hey, here's your code, so you can add it to your library. And I was like, ooh, that was good. That could have been bad because that's a $70 game. I would have been pissed. But it's out and it's getting very good reviews. I'm over here on OpenCritic, and you can see that a lot of people are really enjoying this game. I'm just trying to bring it up on screen now for the video, for the people who are watching over on YouTube. PC Gamer is giving it 87 out of 100. They're saying it's a gorgeous remake of a true classic that could and maybe should have tried to do a tiny bit more. IGN says between its old school stealth action gameplay and engaging spy thriller story, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, that's a very long name, largely succeeds as a faithful, visually impressive remake of the 2004 classic. So, actually, look at that. It is right in my that time that I missed.
Right.
What are you looking forward to playing Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater? I think you played the original, haven't you?
Yeah, I played through all of them. So this is like going back to my own blind spot. I did buy a PS1 in 2001. So I was at very end of the life cycle, and I went back and played all the Final Fantasy games and Metal Gear Solid. And so I did get a feel for all those PS1 games, and that was like a system that I'm familiar with, but is like way after the time. And then, the following year or later on that year, the PS1 or PS2 came out, and I got that and was able to go from basically Metal Gear Solid and enjoying that and not really seeing any PS2 games at all to getting the PS2 and Metal Gear Solid 2 and playing it immediately. And it was just this huge jump, And then Metal Gear Solid 3 came out later on in the PS2 life cycle, and it's a prequel. Timeline wise, this is the first game to play. So you're set up for the story.
I'm in a good spot.
Yeah. And so, but I just don't know if they're going to remake the other ones, or if you've got to, go back and play some of the older ones. The original Metal Gear Solid, the first one, was on the PS1, but they did remake it on the GameCube. A lot of people love and hate that GameCube one, but I love that GameCube one. And so there is a way that you can kind of go through the cycles here. Timeline wise, you'd actually want to go to Metal Gear Solid 5 next, which is crazy, but that's how the timeline goes. So you'd go Snake Eater 5, then you'd play Metal Gear Solid 1, then 2, and then 4. That's how you would play it through the mainline ones.
5 is the one that's like not finished, right? Like the game shipped and it just was undone.
Yeah, it just like you're playing the game, you're like, this is great, and then by the end you're like, is this a demo? Like, what is going on here? Because like it just ends, like they didn't really finish that ending part, and but it's fine. Like it is what it is,
Fair. So do you are you going to be picking this up and playing through the remake, or are you perfectly happy with your memories of what you already played?
No, I definitely want to replay this one. I actually didn't play it on the PS2. I again kind of had a bit of a gap, like starting in like 03 or so. I played through a lot then, but then I did a lot of deploying through 04 and 05. And then in 06, I picked up the Xbox 360. And so then I kind of got back into it. And they remade it, they re-released it on the Xbox 360, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 as a combo pack. And so I bought that and I played through 3 on that. So it was years later. And I didn't particularly enjoy that experience as much as I thought I was going to. I remember skipping a lot of cutscenes because I was just like, let me get over it. So this is like a good opportunity where I can actually play it for real. And obviously I'm going to watch all these cutscenes because they look awesome. So I'm definitely going to pick this one up. And looking at the prices, Fanatical is still cheaper than Steam. It's $52 on Fanatical right now. And it's a $70 game. $52 on Fanatical right now.
Damn.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick this up.
There'll be a link in the description down below. It's not an affiliate link. I'm not do you have an affiliate link?
No.
For Fanatical?
No.
Okay, well, there'll be a link down below so you guys can pick it up for $52 on a game that's coming out like now. That's like really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's currently it says 94% over on OpenCritic. It says 94% of critics recommend it. And the top critics, trying to bring this back up, have a score of 87, which is that's pretty damn good. Right now, there's no player rating because the game isn't actually out yet, but I'm looking forward to playing it, and I can't wait. All right, so we also have Mafia: The Old Country, which is probably one of the games that I was looking forward to most that was going to be coming out this year is Mafia: The Old Country, not because I'm a huge fan of Mafia. Every time I've seen anything from it, I thought that this game looked really good. Right now, not doing so hot. It's on OpenCritic. It's got a top critic rating of 74, only 65% on critics recommending, and then the player rating is 80. So that's kind of tough. But if it comes up on sale, I might pick it up. Is this a game that you've been following or been interested in at all?
No, I never played any of the Mafia games, but it is interesting because, it's a continuation of a series that's been around for a while. So I wonder if the weight of expectation skews that score. Like people who have played through all the others and they're like, oh, this isn't like the others, or, whatever it happens to be. Like, oh, I can't, I'm so happy it's another Mafia game. So they give it a higher score. Like, it's one of those where I do kind of want to wait a bit and see okay, number one, how is it going to come out when we've got a bunch of people playing it and, kind of getting a larger scale kind of optics on it and how many people are playing it. And then also is this a good introductory game? Is this the one we're supposed to jump into? It's the same thing with Monster Hunter. I never know which one to jump into, right? Because there's so many of those, And this I kind of feel is the same way, but maybe even more because it feels like this is kind of a cinematic style storyline game. Where do I jump in the storyline? Like Metal Gear, am I going to miss out on some cues, because I don't know how it works? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here. We're watching a gameplay trailer that's posted from IGN, and I just think that this looks really, really cool. I think it looks fun. Like, it's a third-person action game. There's driving old cars. There's horse riding. There's stealth. There's gunplay. I think that this looks really good, and I can't wait to try it out. But just the ratings aren't very high, and so I think I'm just going to wait, especially because it came out right around the same time as Metal Gear. So right. I think I can probably hold off on that.
Yeah, this looks to me like Godfather and Uncharted mixed.
Yes,
that's what it looks like.
And that's very appealing. Like, you say that, I'm like, sign me up.
Right.
Yeah, like right now we're watching a knife fight. So yeah. I don't know. I think it looks really cool, but I'm definitely not going to be pre-ordering it. All right. Stop sharing. Let me close that, and let's take a look at the. Were you interested in the Ninja Gaiden games?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played, and I know that like Ragebound is out, and then also like there's the Shinobi demo that's out and stuff. I haven't played either of them yet. I need to get on that. But yeah, I haven't got there yet.
Yeah, so I haven't played the Ragebound demo. I think I did. I think I only played it for a minute, though, because I started playing it and then something like I had to go help with my grandkids or something. I can't remember. But I played only a little bit of that. Shinobi is definitely a game that I want to check out. I think that I heard that the controls in Shinobi are pretty complicated, which is kind of telling me, I don't know about that. Like that makes me a little bit nervous. But Ninja Gaiden Ragebound has an 86 on OpenCritic for their top critic average. All the critics, it's 93%. That seems pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to checking this out. It's this side-scrolling one. I personally am much more interested in the side-scrolling one than I am the 3D one. Which one are you more interested in, the side-scroller or the 3D?
Same, yeah, side scroller. I think that the 3D one just is a little bit too much game for me. Like, it's like I want to go to something that's more pick up and play, you know. And so I like the lower barrier to entry on that one and the Shinobi one. Like, they both to me are more appealing than like a full on sit down, let's do the Ninja Gaiden thing, you know. So yeah, I think that's my top choice there.
All right, let's talk about the games that we've been playing. Russ, what have you been playing, man?
Destiny 2. Like, I sat down and played that for a while. Yeah. And the biggest thing with there was just like that they have changed out the system, and I'm here for it. Like, I don't mind at all, you know. It's the gameplay loop is still there and whatnot. So that was fun, and it's like in a new environment. I don't even know what planet on. It looks like Venus, you know, because it's got like a more vibrant kind of look to it, which I like. And it's one of those where I don't know how often you play this game, but like if you play Destiny 2 and there's a new DLC or there's a new saga out, it doesn't let you go into the main menu. It just starts you into that, right? Because it's like it wants to give you a preview of that experience. And so I'm playing that, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of fun. It actually has this new mechanic where you transform from being your regular guardian to a ball of light that spins around and moves around, kind of like the Metroid ball kind of thing, right?
Oh, okay.
And you use that to get into places you can't normally go into and like unlock certain aspects, like opening up a door or whatever. So they've added something new to it, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I played it for about an hour and a half. I was testing out a tablet because I'm testing out like game streaming, so I was playing it on NVIDIA GeForce Now. And it was a good experience, even though the ping is relatively high here in Hawaii. And so that's the main thing I've been playing. I did some more Doom: The Dark Ages, played a bit of that as well. And yeah, so far, I guess just a lot of first-person shooter games right now. Trying to get further in Doom, but I got to like episode 4, chapter 4, or whatever, chapter 5. So yeah, and that's another thing. We're watching the Destiny trailer right now. They've got like flying enemies, which is not something I've seen before in Destiny 2. Like, you have like floating witches, but they're pretty easy to shoot. These guys are like on jetpacks. It feels like they're coming from Anthem or something. You know what I mean? And you got to shoot those guys down. It was kind of crazy, but yeah. So far, I was enjoying just like that first hour and a half that I was playing Destiny 2.
Nice. So I haven't played any modern games because I just spent a week in Las Vegas. My wife and I just had our 20th anniversary. We went there. We brought our kids with us, and we went there and we renewed our vows with like an Elvis impersonator. It was
Awesome.
It was hilarious and fun, and we had an absolute blast. Couple of things I learned. Number one, if you are pushing 50, don't party like you're 25 for a week because you pay for it. But I didn't bring any gaming stuff with me outside of the Trim UI brick, which I brought with me, and I played a ton of Shining Force, which is a game I probably play the beginning of every 6 months. And this is now the farthest that I've gotten into it since I was in high school, when I originally played it on the Sega Genesis. I'm not playing the Sega Genesis version, though. I'm playing the GBA version, which has updated graphics and like a lot of, well, maybe not a lot of, but quality of life things that they've changed. So have you played Shining Force,
Just
Russ?
briefly. Yeah, it wasn't a game I owned back in the day, but yeah, I played several times, like you, just trying to get through the beginning.
Yeah. So when you play that game, you go to the store, you want to buy like an herb. And then so you go to the store, you're like, hey, guy, I want to buy an herb. And he's like, I'm going to sell you the herb. Thanks. And then who wants to hold the herb? And then you have to pick who holds the herb. And then you're like, okay, I want to buy another herb. Now, who wants to hold it? Oh, this guy wants to hold it. And you like, so I don't, if you have like, I think it's 12 people that are on your team at any time. So you have to go through that menu like 1,000 freaking times. It's so annoying. On the GBA version, though, you can say, I want to buy 12 herbs. And you could just buy them all at once and then manage the inventory afterwards. And it's such a smoother experience. And the graphics they're not, I wouldn't say that they're better, but they are slightly different. I just love that game so much. But I'm probably on chapter, well, I don't remember which chapter I'm on, but I'm at least on chapter 3, maybe 4. I can't remember. And if you've played that game, the chapters are really long. Like, it takes a long time because each battle is like, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes of like, you move your character and you move the next character. And then when it's the enemy's turn, you have to watch them move their character. It takes a really long time to get through the turns. And I haven't messed with, I just didn't bother with learning how to do fast forwarding on the operating system that I installed on my Trim UI brick. But I'm loving the game and I'm having an absolute blast with it. And I think I'm gonna try and keep going this time, because I remember when I was a kid, I finished it, and every time that I've tried to play it again, because it's so long and drawn out, I always stop playing it for one reason or another.
Yeah, it's I think the Trim UI brick is a really good handheld to do that with, just because it's so small. You can throw it in your pocket, For a while I was using that as like my bedtime handheld, because I would just kind of hold it in one hand and be able to play. I was playing Final Fantasy IV on a Game Boy Advance, and I was just kind of like, just lay on your side and just kind of do this till you conk out. And so I did that for a while. I never finished the game, but yeah, that was a good experience.
Yeah, on the plane, that's the same thing I was doing, is I would just hold it in one hand because it's just more comfortable to just kind of move, because it's such a slow-paced game.
Right.
You just move over with the D-pad, and then you reach over with your thumb and hit the other side, and everything just worked fine, but it's so damn fun. And up until recently, if I was playing games like that, it was on my Miu Mini Plus. I have not touched my Miu Mini Plus since. In fact, my Trim UI brick is overcharging right now because it's almost dead because I've been playing it so much. But it's a really good handheld, and I posted a video about it today. I think it was. I can't remember. I posted it ahead of time. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but it's so good. It's such a fun system. All right, this day in gaming history. This is a big one. I'm honestly really sad that Carrie's not here because he would talk about this one at length. Chrono Trigger is 30 years old today. We're recording this on the 22nd. It came out August 22nd, 1995. It is now 30 years old. Chrono Trigger. That's got to be my next one that I fire up on the Trim UI brick. Did you ever play Chrono Trigger, Russ?
I didn't back in the day. This was during that gap in playing, so I didn't play anything, but I remember it at least like got my attention. Like I heard about it. I heard it had multiple endings, and I saw some graphics about it, or like some images of it and stuff. And I was like, oh man, this looks so amazing. And it almost got me like into video games again, like how much I wanted to play it. But no, I actually only recently played through it, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I played the DS version because that one has like extra animations and stuff. But yeah, it still held up. It was still a really good game, and I think you can definitely play it one-handed. Like that's a good trim UI brick handheld like game to play as well. So yeah, really good game. Even if I did play it, 27, 28 years afterwards, still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn between whether or not I want to play this on my retro handheld or play it like on my TV or on a Steam Deck or something, because when I don't know when I bought it, but I ended up buying like the Steam version years ago. I think it was on sale or something. And I feel like that's probably where I want to play it, just because, big screen. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very good game. Like I can understand why it was so formative for Carrie. Like this game and Final Fantasy 3 or 6, depending on your region, like that. Those are really formative for him, and he has not really played any other JRPGs since then because of that. Like he's like so jaded about it now, and I get it. Like these are really excellent experiences, and I can imagine playing it in the heyday was even more revolutionary. And so, yeah, really really fun. I did play through Chrono Cross, which was its sequel. It came out on the PS1 during that time when I bought the PS1 and tried to play back a bunch of games. I played through all the Final Fantasy, 7, 8, 9, and I was like, I want something else. And so I bought Chrono Cross, and I didn't like it. I was like, this is too much game. There's too many endings, too many characters. Like it was overwhelming, And I think Chrono Trigger does it right, where they've got multiple endings, and multiple characters to choose from, but it's not overwhelming. And so that's what I really like about that one.
Awesome. Yeah, I've played Chrono Trigger, and I think I don't remember how far I got. I know that I ended up having Frog on my team, but that's all I really remember. And that was like when I was a kid. I think I rented it. And so like that's the kind of game where you rent it, you can't get through enough of it. You can't get through, unless you really know the game, you can't get through enough in time before you have to take it back. So I ended up not playing very much of it. So it's another one of those, Brian called in earlier and said blind spots. It's kind of a blind spot for me. Yeah, I've tried it and I've played it a little bit, but it's definitely a game that I don't know as nearly as much about it as I should, especially because it's just one of those games that everybody's always saying is one of the top tier of all time.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's 30 years, which is crazy. That's just kind of amazing. I've got distinct memories of like this era. So then, I graduated high school in 98. So I remember being like around 97, 98, I went and I like reconnected with some of the friends that I had when I was like in the early 90s. And those were like my video game friends. Like I would go to their house to play Super Nintendo because I didn't have one, And for some reason, they got back into it again, like when we were seniors in high school. And so I used to go over there. I can't remember why. I think I used to give one of them a ride to school or something. Either way, I just remember them sitting down, and it was Final Fantasy 3, not Chrono Trigger, but same kind of thing, And they were just in it. Like it was a few years past the time, and they got obsessed. Like they had notebooks out, and they were like, staying up till 2 a.m. on school nights, writing out all the notes. Oh, we need to go here, and that kind of stuff, And I just had this very distinct memory of like, these games will really latch onto you sometimes. And with Chrono Trigger too, I remember that even, I played it just a few years ago, I had to consult some guides a few times because it was still a little bit like it doesn't hold your hand in the way that, you got your map marker in more recent games, And so the one thing to keep in mind is that you may have to still consult like some sort of guide. And for me too, again, like I want to have the best ending. I want to be the best guy. And so some decisions that I made, like I had to kind of look it up and be like, what happens if I do this and if I don't, And so those are things to think about too.
Yeah, I never worry about that. I just do what I think that my character would do at the time. And then whatever happens, that's what happens to my character. And I think that's, for me, that's more interesting than going to look something up. But at the same time, I totally understand how somebody would. I think you and I were talking about it when we were talking about Avowed, where you said there was a decision that you made, and then whatever decision you chose, you were like, well, that is not what I wanted to happen. That's bad. I think the same thing happened to me a lot of times in Mass Effect, where you have like your little dialogue tree, and it's like it says this little quip, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to say. So then you click that, but then Shepard says like this other thing. I mean, it's supposed like, and you could see how the thing that he said is related to the little quip that you picked, but that wasn't what you had in your head when you clicked it. Right. And like suddenly you're like, whoa, am I a jerk? Did I just become a jerk? Is Shepard a jerk? My Shepard's a jerk.
Right. That was always my joke about Mass Effect. Is like you don't ever actually change what you're doing in that game. You're just a jerk about it, right? You're still going to save the universe, but you're going to be a jerk the whole time instead. And so it's kind of funny.
When you're playing an RPG and you complete a quest, and then you have the opportunity to be like, by the way, I didn't do this because I'm just nice. I would like to be paid. Do you ever pick that? Or are you always like, I'm the paladin, I'm just going to be nice?
I always do the nice thing because I assume I'll be rewarded for it later on. You know what I mean? So I never,
but you miss out on some free gold.
Yeah. It's all good. I play on easy anyway.
That's fair. But hey, that's going to do it for this episode. Russ, tell everybody what you've been working on, man.
So today I launched a video about the new Xbox 8-bit DO controller. It's wireless, and it works with the, it has its own dongle, like, the ultimate kind of controllers, right? And a dock and all that stuff. But it actually works wirelessly with an Xbox, which is the first time I've been able to test that from them. And it works great. It is a Rare the company, anniversary edition version. So it's like yellow and blue. It actually looks like a Fallout controller to me, other than that it says Rare on it. And it's great. It's a good controller.
Hold on. You know what? I saw that video in my feed, and I was like, I didn't click on it yet, but I saw it, and it said Rare controller. Like, what's the title?
I just said that they released a wireless Xbox controller. I didn't put the word Rare in it. Yeah.
Is it in the thumbnail?
No, it might be in the description, but yeah, I didn't put
Well, I saw something, and when I saw Rare, I thought, like hard to get.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it was somebody else's video. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it's a good controller, but it's $90, and it really is only worth it if you like the color scheme, and you also really want to have a third-party wireless controller that's under $200, because most of them are really at the high-end level. So yeah, I did that video, and then I'm testing a cheaper handheld right now, and I'm hoping to get that video out this weekend. We'll see.
Awesome. Today I posted my review, not really a review, but like my experience with the Trim UI brick. And then my next video that I'm going to post, I don't know if it'll be before this podcast comes out or after the podcast comes out, but it's an 8-bit DO. I got the 8-bit DO Pro 3, and I went through and did like a Steam input thing about that. And God, that controller is so good. I love the magnetic buttons that you can just put wherever the hell you want. Which, I know that you have the same controller. Which buttons are on yours?
So I'm currently running, my main one is the PS style, like PlayStation style one. So it's the two-tone gray, and I'm just using the rainbow Super Nintendo buttons on it. Because I don't like to see the labels, because I switches up and stuff. And so it's like, it's cool that I could just cover it up, and I know positionally where the button needs to be, and I don't need to see the labels. So I'm like at that tier of gamer where I don't need to look down at the button anymore, which is great.
Well, and I'm the same way, but when the label is written on the button, my brain tells me to look. Like, it'll say press X on the screen, and I'll be like, shit, where's X? And I look down. But I don't look down because there are no labels on the buttons.
Yeah.
And so I don't have to worry about where X is. My brain figures it out. It's like I've got like some kind of block that stops me from being able to do that if there's something written on the button. Right. So I love that we were able to put on the Super Nintendo style buttons, which I put in the wrong order. I have to go look up a super. It doesn't matter, I know.
Yeah.
But like I was trying to do it from memory, and I reversed both sets.
Yeah, I just usually will look at a different retro handheld I have. I have so many rainbow colored like handhelds,
right.
you know. So I'll just look at an Ambernick or whatever and be like, okay, that's the color scheme. So I'll use that. Yeah, there you go, right there.
I could have just used this. This was actually on my desk while I was doing the video, and I didn't even notice that it was there. And for the audio listeners, I'm holding up the Miu Mini Plus, which has the white one that has the colors on it. But that's going to do it for this episode of the NerdNest podcast. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Russ, thanks for being with me, and we'll see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.